known for its crystal clear waters and white sandy beaches, Cape Verde is set to steal the spotlight for very different reasons this summer. The archipelago of 10 islands in the Atlantic Ocean is making its football World Cup debut in North America, arriving at the global showpiece as one of 10 African representatives.
An Israeli air raid on a home in Gaza has killed 3 members of a family, including a 6-month-old child, medical workers said, as Israel continues to violate the ceasefire brokered by the United States last year. Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital in Deir el-Balah in central Gaza said it received the bodies of a couple and their young child in the early hours of Sunday morning.
Clashes have broken out between protesters and riot police after an anti-government rally in the Serbian capital, Belgrade. Large crowds of demonstrators poured into central Belgrade on Saturday, many carrying banners and wearing T-shirts emblazoned with the Students' Win motto of the youth movement that organised the gathering.
Pakistan, along with 13 other nations, on Sunday condemned the illegal and unacceptable step of the so-called Somaliland opening a purported embassy in occupied Jerusalem, terming it an infringement on the legal and historical status of Jerusalem. The Foreign Office said Somaliland is a breakaway region of Somalia. Security forces have killed 11 terrorists in the Datakel area of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's North Waziristan district during the last 48 hours. The military's media affairs wing said on Sunday. A statement by the Inter-Services Public Relations said security forces had engaged multiple terrorist locations as part of a series of intelligence-based operations in the area.
India voiced concern on Sunday over a US visa crackdown, striking a rare critical note even as it expressed broad alignment with Secretary of State Marco Rubio on other fractious issues. Paying his first visit to India, Rubio said the two democracies were on the same page on all major issues, brushing aside recent unease in New Delhi over trade, China and the Iran war. A group of Senegalese football supporters jailed following their country's chaotic, violence-plagued Africa Cup of Nations, AFCON, final in Morocco in January, have returned home after being pardoned by the Moroccan king. King Mohammed VI granted the fans a pardon on humanitarian grounds on the occasion of the Muslim holiday of Eid al-Adha, Morocco's royal court said on Saturday. United States President Donald Trump says a memorandum of understanding on an agreement with Iran has been largely negotiated and would reopen the Strait of Hormuz, the vital oil choke point closed since the US and Israel launched their war in February. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif of Pakistan, the mediator in the talks, said the next round of negotiations between the US and Iran will happen very soon.
Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif on Sunday highlighted 4 key areas with immense potential for bilateral cooperation between Pakistan and China. The Premier landed in Hangzhou on Saturday, kicking off his 4-day official visit to China. He will also visit Beijing, where he is expected to meet the top Chinese leadership.
At least 20 people have been killed and 70 others injured in an explosion targeting a train transporting military personnel in Pakistan. The blast occurred while the train was travelling through Chaman Fatak station in Quetta, the capital of the western Balochistan region, on Sunday morning.
At least 23 people have been killed and 71 injured after a suicide bomb attack near a railway station in the southwestern Pakistani city of Quetta on Sunday as a train was passing through. The militant organisation Baloch Liberation Army, BLA, which demands independence from Pakistan's central government, has claimed responsibility for the attack.
A man has been shot dead by United States Secret Service officers after opening fire on a security checkpoint near the White House, and a bystander has been wounded in the gunfire. Several US media outlets have identified the gunman as Nasir Best, a 21-year-old man from the neighbouring state of Maryland who was known to the Secret Service and had a documented history of mental health conditions.
United States President Donald Trump says a possible agreement between Washington and Tehran to end months of war is now largely negotiated, raising hopes that tensions in the region could ease after a flurry of diplomatic overtures involving multiple countries. The proposed Memorandum of Understanding, MU, reportedly includes reopening the Strait of Hormuz as vital shipping lane for crude oil and gas, as well as talks aimed at formally ending the US-Israel war on Iran.
United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio says significant progress has been made in talks to end the US-Israeli war on Iran, hours after President Donald Trump claimed that a memorandum of understanding to end the fighting was largely negotiated. Rubio, who is on his first official visit to India, said on Sunday that the emerging deal would address Trump's concerns about the Strait of Hormuz, which Iran has largely blocked since the US and Israel launched their war on February 28.
Telegram founder Pavel Durov on Saturday called WhatsApp's encryption a giant fraud and accused it of misleading users about how secure their messages really are. In a post shared on X, Durov claimed that WhatsApp employees have access to virtually all private messages and cited a lawsuit filed in Texas against Meta-owned WhatsApp over alleged privacy misrepresentation.
The government of Sindh has issued a corrigendum announcing public holidays for Eid al-Adha across the province. According to the Services General Administration and Coordination Department, 26, 27 and the 28th of May 2026, Tuesday to Thursday, have been declared public holidays for all government offices, autonomous and semi-autonomous bodies, corporations and local councils under the Sindh government. At least 16 people have died of heat stroke in southern India so far this summer, officials said on Sunday, as a heatwave gripped swathes of the country following official health warnings. India is no stranger to scorching summers, but years of scientific research have found climate change is causing heat waves to become longer, more frequent and more intense.
A bomb explosion in Quetta, the capital of the southwestern Pakistani province of Balochistan, has killed at least 20 people and wounded more than 50 others. Separatist group Balochistan Liberation Army claimed responsibility for Sunday's blast, which took place when a train was travelling through the city, causing some carriages to overturn and catch fire. Russia has hit Kyiv and its surrounding areas with a large missile and drone attack, killing 4 people and wounding more than 60, Ukrainian authorities say. After Moscow had threatened retaliation for strikes in Russian-occupied eastern Ukraine, the explosions started just after 1 a.m. on Sunday. After might launch by Ukraine's Air Force that Russia might launch, after the warnings, a hypersonic Oreshnik ballistic missile. Sayun, Yemen. During the early years of the Yemen war, which broke out in September 2014, food and shelter were relatively adequate in camps hosting many of the country's 4.8 million internally displaced people, IDPs. But nearly 12 years of conflict and growing instability have led to a dire situation inside and outside IDP camps, while the collapse of the Yemeni rial has seen an inflationary spiral, creating the worst food crisis since 2022, with more than half the population experiencing extreme food insecurity.
Quetta. At least 14 people were killed and several others were injured after a blast tore through a shuttle train in Quetta on Sunday morning. The Balochistan government said state-run APP, citing railway authorities, said the shuttle train was heading from Quetta cantonment to the railway station when it was targeted near Chaman Fatak shortly after 8 a.m.
A man has died after being attacked by a shark off the coast of the northeastern Australian state of Queensland. Police have confirmed emergency services were called to a boat ramp on the Cassowary coast between the cities of Cairns and Townsville just before noon local time on Sunday, following reports of a 39-year-old being attacked while swimming out at a nearby shoal.
California Governor Gavin Newsom has declared a state of emergency as crews race to contain a toxic chemical leak at a manufacturing facility in Orange County. A tank containing about 7,000 gallons of methyl methacrylate, a highly volatile and flammable substance used to make plastic, was at risk of failure, officials warned. Thousands of Garden Grove residents are under evacuation orders as a precaution. A man has died after a shark attack off the coast of Queensland in northeast Australia. Police say the man was rushed to shore after being bitten on Sunday near Kennedy Shoal, a shallow reef about 45 kilometres, 28 miles off the coast, a Queensland Police Service spokesperson said.
Goma. Democratic Republic of the Congo, attacks on Ebola health facilities are intensifying in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, as the World Health Organization warns the outbreak could worsen in the DRC and Uganda on Thursday. The Rwampara Health Centre was stormed by a group of angry residents demanding the bodies of relatives who had died from Ebola, according to local sources. The incident was also confirmed by partners of the Congolese government involved in the response in the area. Rawalpindi, Pakistan. On a cold January morning, Anam Shakur gallops across a field wrapped in a black shawl that billows behind her as she charges forward, a 1.8-metre 6-foot lance gripped tightly in her hand. The 30-year-old has already claimed her first peg. The second lies close ahead.
Ukraine's unbeaten heavyweight world champion Oleksandr Usyk has stopped Dutch former kickboxer Rico Verhoeven with 1 second left in the penultimate round of a WBC title fight to avoid one of the greatest boxing upsets of all time. The Glory in Giza fight, held at the Pyramids of Egypt on Saturday, was considered a mismatch, but Verhoeven, whose sole previous in mind-ball boxing fight was 12 years ago, tore up the script in mind-boggling fashion from the opening bell.
In Lahore, food is never merely food. It is memory, migration, performance, class, longing and history carried on the tongue. Few places embody this truth more vividly than Gawalmandi, a dense and storied neighbourhood in central Lahore, whose narrow streets, smoky grills, old facades and crowded eateries became inseparable from the cultural imagination of the city. To speak of Gawalmandi is to speak of Lahore itself, a city built through displacement, improvisation, coexistence and reinvention. Until recently, Gawalmandi has been celebrated primarily for its famous food street, for sizzling kebabs, fragrant harissa, fried fish, douche jalebi and late-night crowds that gather under strings of lights. Yet reducing Gawalmandi to a culinary destination alone would flatten its layered historical significance. The neighbourhood is also a site through which one can understand urban modernity in South Asia, the social consequences of partition, and the transformation of everyday life in post-colonial cities. Through the writings of historians and theorists such as Gyan Prakash, Ashamin, and Arjuna Padurai, Gawalmandi can be read not simply as a neighbourhood, but as an urban text, a space where memory, mobility, intimacy, and commerce converge. The literary recollections of A. Hamid, Ahmad Shuja Pasha, and Pran Neville further illuminate how Lahore's cultural worlds were built through ordinary people, shared spaces, and everyday encounters.
Quetta. Several people are feared dead after a blast tore through a shuttle train near Chaman Fatak in Quetta on Sunday morning. State-run APP, citing railway authorities, said the shuttle train was heading from Quetta cantonment to the railway station when it was targeted near Chaman Fatak shortly after 8 a.m.
One person has been killed and 21 others injured after Russia launched a large wave of missile and drone strikes on the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv. Explosions were heard across the city, with Mayor Vitaly Klitschko writing on Telegram that damage has been reported in all districts, including residential buildings and schools.